What's going on, guys? I'm Landon from Shoewear, and welcome back to another episode of Sneak Peek, where we preview the top sneaker releases for the next 7 days. I hope everyone had a fun and safe Halloween. We appreciate you guys taking time to check us out. Let's do it. All right, so starting with Nike, I struck out on the Nike Dunk High Slam Jam this week, but if you missed, there will be another Nike Dunk High release that should be coming like a little bit over a week, but we'll wait for the next episode to hit on that release. So moving on to this week's Nike releases, there's a University Red Nike Dunk Low Disrupt that is set to release on November 11th for $110. And we covered a few other Nike Dunk colorways for that, like the Photon Dust and some more pretty generic kind of color schemes. Nothing too crazy. I like how they went with the gum colored outsoles on these. So just like the bottom portion of the shoe is kind of gum colored. And this is just a reminder that this is a quote unquote women's model or variation of the Dunk Low. So these will be released in women's sizing. And we also have a new white cement colorway for the Nike Adapt BB 2.0 releasing November 10th for $350. And we touched on some of the features on this shoe whenever we covered the mag color that dropped last month. But these do, of course, feature the auto lacing and the color changing technology that is built into the shoe, which kind of explains why the cost is about a month's worth of rent. But the main shoe for this week for Nike is hands down going to be the Nike Dunk Low Veneer, which is slated to release this same day as the Nike Adapt BB on November 10th for $100. And these are super tough. So these are kind of a follow-up to the Nike Dunk Low Plum that was released back in February, if you remember that. And this color scheme is from a Japan exclusive style back in 2001. And I just keep on feeling like the Nike Dunk model just keeps growing on me more and more as they keep kind of pumping out these new colorways this year. And these just added more fuel to the fire for me. But we have so many sweet shoes dropping for Nike that don't hit the cutoff date for this episode. So make sure you come back and check us out next week too. All right, so moving on to Jordan, we don't have really a lot to go over today for the brand, but I didn't even make it onto the loading screen for the Air Jordan 1 Black Mochas. It just straight up said sold out when the clock struck 10, so love to see that. But my buddy did snag the youth pair for the Black Mochas, and I have heard some good things about the quality, so I am looking forward to getting a chance to look at those in hand. But as for the Off-White Air Jordan 5s and the Fragment Air Jordan 35s that we touched on last week, no luck there either. And this is a pretty empty week for Jordan drops. It looks like there is potentially a DNA color for the Air Jordan 35 that is set to release November 11th for $180. And these are pretty clean. We put out our review on the Air Jordan 35 Center of Gravity, just so you know. So if you want to check that out and subscribe to our YouTube channel, we would greatly appreciate that, of course. But in that review, I do kind of talk about how this model is really starting to grow on me, especially after seeing them in hand and kind of playing in them. But that's pretty much all we have for Jordan this week. But next week, we have one to go over that I am pumped for. All right, so finishing up with Adidas, I came up empty on the Yeezy 380 Calcite Glow colorway, but focusing on the man behind the Yeezys, I want to bring you guys some information on Kanye West today. So in a 3-hour-long interview that Kanye had with Joe Rogan, he mentions that eventually he wants to drop the Yeezy foam runners down to $20, and that would be awesome for a bunch of reasons. It would bring the cost down for the people, that want to get them for retail. It's only $75, but still bringing it down. And it would also allow resellers to bring the price down on them, hopefully, so that you would still be making the same profit and you could still sell them for less, potentially. And I'm not saying that the market would necessarily trend that way, but it is a possibility. But as for shoe releases, the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2 Fade is set to release November 11th for $220. And this is pretty clearly an earth-toned colorway with the brown and the beige colors kind of covering most of the shoes. And honestly, not one of my favorite colorways, but you know the drill whenever it comes to Yeezys. So anyone interested in this shoe should be ready to go for them as long as the release date does, in fact, stand for that day. All right, so once again, before we end this episode, I'll give you a few of my favorite sneakers to be on the lookout for this week. So first, the Nike Air Max 3 Radiant Red releases in men's sizing for $140 and kids sizing for $115 on November 9th. And Radiant Red is what some people are calling them. Others are kind of calling them infrared, and I like that color name better. But yeah, these do release on the 9th. And the other shoes that I'm looking forward to a little bit more is the Nike Air Force One 1-800. And that's releasing on November 11th for $130. And there are some pretty dope features on this shoe. So first, you can see the 1-800 on the front of the tongue, and that same thing is found on the heel of the shoe as well. And there's also a bunch of different text on the shoes, you know, kind of saying like toll free and just various different things. But the coolest part to me is the phone booth style lace dubres, if I'm hopefully pronouncing that correctly. But they're at the bottom of the shoe laces, and these pretty much just like look like the same keys you'd punch on an older style telephone. And like I said, these will be releasing on the 11th for $130. That's going to wrap it up for episode 17 of Sneak Peek. Be sure to check out our website for all of our available shoes for sale, and to stay up to date on upcoming releases, just as well as, you know, everything else that we do, just click the link in our bio as well. And be sure to come back and check us out next week for more sneaker news. But until next episode, I'm Landon from Shoewear. Peace.